I'm just gonna try to make up for the fact that my background is not aesthetic with the theme of this video. If you're new to my channel, I am B. I am a digital illustrator. I draw with a dreamy storybook aesthetic vibe. So if that's an art style that you like, stick around. For this video, I'm going to be designing a character based on my current logo and profile pictures for my business, which is this. A little bit of backstory, just really quick. For a while, I was trying to shift my focus for my art business from illustration design to like a more sticker focused stationery business because I thought it would drive more revenue, and it didn't, spoiler alert. Within that rebranding, I decided to make my profile picture a logo across the board, and I really like my logo. I'm going to be using it for things in the future. It'll still be my overall logo, but since I am an illustrator first and I'm shifting kind of back from the stationery business to just illustrations, I actually closed down my shop a month or so ago to just focus on character design and things like that. So because of that, I'm going to be redesigning my logo into a full-fledged illustration. I'm really excited about this because it will kind of push me to make something more complicated from a really simple design. So let's get started. I'm gonna kind of walk through the process of my mood board and planning for this illustration, and we'll just kind of see what I come up with. So first, for the colors, obviously you can see my logo is pink and red. I want to stick with a pink and red theme for the most part, but I want to include other colors as well. I might include green, like a full strawberry kind of design, or I might bring in some mauves and dusty blues. Both of those color combinations I really like with pink and red. So I think I'm just going to kind of stick with that idea, and then when I'm in my sketch phase, I'll figure out what looks best, either the green or the blue, or maybe I'll do like a green, blue, pink, red and keep it there. I don't know, we'll see what works. But those are my ideas for the color palette. And then my idea for the vibe overall is this like 90s girly getting ready vibe. I don't know why this theme sticks in my head, but I'm gonna go with it because I just think it's really cute. I also think it's very me right now, just like ultra girly, and I don't know, I've been wanting to play around with like 80s, 90s vibes for a while. Oh, it also goes along with my end screen with the typewriter. I like the whole vibe of like pink hues as like a lighting. That's what I was trying to go with for my end screen. It's not necessarily like everything is pink, but the lighting and the candles and everything I have in the illustration kind of just makes everything have this pink hue. So I want to do the same kind of thing. Everything will have like a similar hue, but just because of the lighting, like I want to create that illusion. So anyways, back to the vibe. So I pinned this photo and this photo specifically, and they both stuck out to me. So this for the pose and this for a part of the vibe. I really like the phone, so I think I'm gonna include that. And then I thought of her like holding the phone with her shoulder while she's like painting her nails, so I'm gonna try to do that. We'll see how that works out in my rough draft stage, but yeah, I think that's really cute. I'm gonna have my two cats beside me on the rug or floor or whatever I do. Thanks. And then for the outfit, I didn't know what I wanted for that until I saw this photo shoot with this big fluffy pink coat. So I think I'm gonna do that as like the main clothing piece. I think it'll be like one off the shoulder, and I'll make it as long enough to look like kind of like a mini dress. Yeah, I think that will look really cute. So that's what I'm gonna go with. I'm gonna start putting together my mood board now by saving all of my references. And I just have a ton of references, a ton of different options, multiple options for the pose. So they're all like a similar pose but in different angles, doing different things to really give me a clear idea and to give me a lot of things to practice so that there's flexibility. So this is my mood board, and I'm just going to group all of these references together and rename it mood board. Okay, let's see. I think I'm gonna practice my main poses first. And for this, I usually work in a black pencil, and I choose the pencil Dull Flat Pencil from Jing's Brush Pack. I talk about more of the brushes I use in my last video, so I will link that above if you want to check that out. So I'm just going to sketch out my sketch pad, and I will be back when it's all finished. So I finished with my sketch pad. Here's how it's looking so far. I just went ahead and practiced most of the elements that I had on my mood board, and I forgot the references of the cats, so I put those in and practiced some of my cats. And yeah, this is how it's looking. So next I'm going to probably just copy and paste the pose that I like the most and build off of it. I'm gonna totally change her hairstyle and other things, but for now I'm just kind of gonna work with what I already have. This pose is looking rough. I fully acknowledge that. But I'm just gonna, yeah, okay. So I'm just gonna start doodling the elements that I want to include. One cat here, one cat here. They're gonna both be laying down in different ways. Then I have the rug situation, or do I want a rug, or do I not want a rug? And also she's like in a weird place. And really I'm just trying to visualize? And really I'm just trying to envision where everything's gonna go and what the perspective should look like. Okay, and then at the same time I'm gonna work on her actual pose that I want. So she's gonna be like leaning her head, right phone, there we go, love that. Okay, and then yeah, so her shoulder is like far down, further down, further down. Okay, and then so she's, okay, I want her to be painting her hand, her one hand with the other hand, nails, something. So something else I mentioned in my last video of my whole drawing process is that the rough sketch stage is mainly for me to understand the perspective and how my idea is going to actually translate to an illustration, because of course I have something in my head and it's gonna turn out a little bit differently than what I have in my head. So this stage is to figure out the logistics, basically. I'm not finalizing anything. As you can see, the hands are very crudely drawn and stuff like that, but it's to just figure out how the shapes are actually gonna work in reality, if that makes sense. So I imported my logo so that I can kind of compare as I change it. One thing that's obvious about this process is that I'm going to take a lot of artistic liberties. There's not a lot to work with since the logo is so simple, but I am going to keep some of the key features. Her hair will still be in some sort of an updo with the bangs. I'm going to keep that like little curl that I have going on, but I might change the position of it. Instead of it being on the cheek, it might be in the bangs or something. So yeah, she will have some sort of updo, and keep that little bottom curl the same. And then I'll make sure to give her like some very blushy cheeks. Then I'm gonna have my two cats represented the same way. Okay, so now you can see the finished rough sketch. I don't know if anything's finished yet, but you know what I mean. So now's the time to pick out a color palette. And I think I'm just gonna start by picking colors from the mood board. I think that's a good place to start. So I'm gonna pop up my mood board again, put it on top, pink, and then I'm just gonna color pick some reds, pinks, and then I'm still totally unsure of if I'm going to do the strawberry color palette or the more dusty color palette, but I don't know. In the end, I'm just gonna go with what I think is gonna be the most aesthetic, and we'll just see what color palette fits the best. I'm going to move on to the line art. To me, this is missing a lot of things, but I just can't figure out what it's missing. I wanted it to look kind of abstract, like the background is just pink, just a color. I didn't want to make it too physical, like there being a wall or a couch or something like that behind. So I'm just gonna go ahead and do the line art and just figure out some things that will bring the piece together a little bit more, maybe. Okay, so unfortunately, I forgot to click record on my screen and I wasn't recording most of my line art process. But here we are. I am done with the line art. The colors are all mixed up and weird. I'm just gonna, like, while I'm talking, I'm just gonna try to, like, fix it a little bit. But yeah, basically the line art is done. My rendering is gonna take a very long time because this has not been a clean process so far and I have to fix a lot of things. But that's okay, that's what rendering is for. And I'm gonna try to make sense of all the colors that I already placed. So I'm just gonna make her skin tone and jacket and everything colored in very basically, the cats and everything. And I'm just gonna clean up the colors that I already have and add to the colors just a little bit. And I'm just gonna do the basic rendering. Okay, so at this point, I'm getting more into the rendering territory. I did my base rendering and then it kind of just moved into the rendering naturally. Like I said before, this process is not as clean as some of my other illustrations. I'm kind of bouncing around more than I usually do because I feel like I have a lot to figure out, and yeah, I'm kind of like at some points I've been a little bit confused. So yeah, I've been bouncing around, but anyways, so now we're in the rendering process and this is the longest step, but I am hopefully in post-production. I'm going to be able to speed it up and chop up the process a little bit so that it won't take too long, but hopefully I can show most of my drawing. But yeah, I think I am going to finish the drawing however long it takes. I think I'm about 5 hours in so far, so I'm just gonna keep on going and I'll see you when it is totally rendered. It has been a while, so long that my curls started losing shape and I had to put my hair up. Finally, I was able to finish the drawing. Here is the finished piece. I hit myself in the face. Okay. This video, I already know in editing it's gonna be really chaotic and I feel bad for my future self, but whatever. Here is my finished illustration. I will show it side by side with my logo as well. That was a very fun project. Originally, I had the idea to maybe use it as my profile picture to replace the logo. I'm not sure if I'm gonna do that because I get really stuck on my profile pictures. I never know when I'm gonna want to change it. But I did really enjoy drawing this. I had a lot of fun. I will say one comment on it is that I think I dropped the ball on rendering the cats. By the time I got to the cats, I was just so tired, honestly, of rendering, so the cats are kind of rough looking, but I'm just gonna leave it there. I think this drawing took me about 8 hours, so I'm happy enough with it to just kind of leave it as it is. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this drawing process video. If you haven't already, please like and subscribe so you can watch this small channel grow, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!